Okay, the engine is actually in for like the fourth time now. Just kidding a second, but it's in. Now I'm just going to be looking to bolt up the tranny and engine, and yeah. But I'm going to make the engine and transmission, attaching all the accessories, and then start doing the procedures to bleed fluids and just kind of get everything started again. Okay, as you can see, the power plant frame's kind of in. Drive shaft's in. There's no bolts holding it, but it's all lined up. So basically, what I'm gonna do is, I think there's a procedure to align the power plant frame and the whole drive line. Like I said, I think it's to make sure that your angles are straight and your pinion angle is straight. I'm gonna start torquing all of the drive line together, and when that's done, then we can start putting accessories on. I mean, here's my workbench. It's literally just got nothing. Just a bucket of accessories and then just some miscellaneous stuff. Some just bolts and yeah, I mean, there's really nothing left. So I've reached a very annoying part with the starter. As you can see, these bolts right here. Basically all three of the engine mount bolts, there's one that you can't really see. They're all three different sizes. And I've been struggling trying to find which one goes because this top one is bottoming out before that bracket is even flush. I don't know why, honestly. So I think what I might do is just place a washer there, a lock washer, and see if that will give me what I want. Alright, the power plant frame is all torqued in. I'm a little confused on the power plant frame alignment. Fly Miata's procedure says measure off the frame rails, and it should be about 62 to 70 millimeters from the frame to the bottom of the power plant frame, and I mean, I'm maybe 5 millimeters off that. I don't think it's a big deal, but I also don't really know how you would adjust that. There it is. It's off, and it's pretty much fully mounted in there. I mean, it is. Engine mounts are done. Power plant frame's all torqued. Everything is set where it's going to be. So now, it's time to start putting accessories on. It's a little difficult to see, but I pretty much have everything on this side of the engine bay kind of wrapped up. Everything's plugged in, the harnesses ran through and kind of mounted where I want it. And now I'm just trying to get this coolant reroute in place, which, as I suspected, is going to be the hardest part. And so far, it's pretty annoying. Not too bad. I mean, I got it. I had to undo a couple things I already had done. And my hands are burning, but it's at least on the neck. So it's all mounted up. Power plant frame and all that stuff are all torqued to spec. Yeah, everything's looking good. I have my starter and alternator on, so pretty much the only accessory I need to put on, it's not even really an accessory, but I'm just referring to things that bolt on the engine as accessories, is my coil pack, and I have to put my exhaust system back on, and then my intake. But right now I'm working on these coolant lines. I've made quite a bit of progress today. Pretty happy with it so far, and I think I'm going to get to a point where I'm only going to have a couple steps left before I'm ready to fill it and attempt to start it. Alright, the belt has been properly tensioned. Basically what you do is you're going to lay a straight edge on it and use your belt tension gauge. This is kind of a different style than the cricket gauges, which most people use, but this gives you a deflection spec and a force spec. So what that means is you'll usually get both specifications. For example, the Miata's is like 0.035 to 0.042 of an inch, which is approximately there on my scale. Okay, so then you would push on this down until your straight edge, until the belt deflects and your straight edge is on that O-ring. And then the amount of force that is required will be read here. You're looking for, in my case, 22. So when it takes 22 foot-pounds of force to move that belt that much, alright, so as it sits, we got pretty much all the cooling system back together. My reroute's looking good, radiator's back in, lower radiator hose is back in. It actually looks like I'm going to have to cut this there. I thought it would kind of work a little like that, but that seems kind of stupid now with everything lined up. So I might just end up cutting it there. And then we got to do the heater core lines. Okay, so I found that when using these styles of clamps, you can just use vice grips to hold them open. And then just sliding it over becomes really easy. So you just clamp it open, slide it over, and then you don't have to mess with it too much. That's a little thing I like to do. You know, if it works for you, it works for you. I was really in my head yesterday, and I kind of just worked all day and you know, just kind of grinded this away. Coming back today, I didn't realize like how much I've really done. It's pretty crazy. I mean, all I have to do is put on my cat back and just intake, and then I'm pretty much done. I'm replacing each one of these things that hold the wire to the power plant frame with a brand new technology, the zip tie. Each one of these weighs significantly less than this. Major weight reduction. Shameless plug. I also used my engineering degree and figured out how to build the Miata without all of these pieces of hardware. Those people at Mazda, they don't know what they're doing when they built this car. So here's my wiring harness. It's like kind of fastened to the tranny itself. Goes back up there. And then it just travels along the power plant frame. And it's zip tied back in. That actually might have been the right bolt. Or at least that's what I'm going to keep telling myself so I can sleep tonight. Okay, and here I did 2 zip ties because this, as you notice, is where my diff is, and this is where all the raw horsepower is going to be unleashed. So it's going to need some extra help staying on. Well, I guess tonight I'll get this stupid junk naturally aspirated exhaust back on. It's actually a Racing Beat catback. Sounds pretty nice. I like it, but yeah, it's not 3-inch and it's not shooting flames and it doesn't have a turbo feeding it. So, wow, I was beginning to think that my little universal adapter was never going to come in handy. Maybe not come in handy, but I would never get the damn thing to be successful for me. But wow, that just saved my life. The exhaust is all stapled up from the engine all the way back. It means we're pretty much done under the car, I believe. Alright, I think I'm at the point where my last step is just plugging in this harness, which won't be very difficult. And then just putting on my intake, and then I think we're ready to fill it with fluid. I mean, I gotta put my spark plug wires on and probably my heat shield, but honestly, like, I'm I'm almost done. I have to adjust the clutch and bleed the slave cylinder, which might be a little difficult, but I'm only a handful of steps away. Alright, my intake is all back in. That means pretty much everything is back in place except this coolant reroute line. So I'm going to go ahead and work on trying to cut this so that we can go ahead and get it fitted. So I didn't do the coolant reroute as a kit, by the way. I just ordered a bunch of parts that are known to work. There's a little thing on, I think it's Miata Turbo. There's a thread that explains how to do a DIY kit for cheap. So right now I'm trying to cut off enough so that I get a nice peaceful pathway for this, and it's not, you know, completely making contact with that, which I think I can achieve by cutting more off. And then I have to make sure my throttle cable isn't going to touch it. And then I don't really want it resting on my fuel lines either. So the date is March 23rd. The next Pikes Peak International Raceway track day is April 22nd. So I have just a day under a month before this thing needs to be able to go on the track. A month is kind of a good amount of time, and I think we're going to be able to do it no problem. Right now, as it sits, I have all the fluids in, pretty much everything is torqued. All I have to do is clean up the spark plug holes, and then spark plug boots, and fill it with coolant, and it's ready to start. Basically, everything's ready to go. So for tonight, I'm going to finish putting in the coolant. So we're going to get this. I'm going to start the car, not tonight, probably Sunday, at the end of Sunday. Honestly, I'm really nervous to start it. I don't know what's going to happen. Sometime Sunday, I'm going to start the car. We're going to start burping the cooling system and just watch for any leaks, bring it up to operating temperature, and make sure there's no issues. And once there's no issues, we're going to go have some fun. Well, I woke up to this next to my car. I guess the Mustang is ready to take its spot back at the garage, so